There we are. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to round 4 of the AEST Super Series here tonight at Winton Motor Raceway. Tonight it is just me running the show, Flyman11, also known as Michael Zalavari. Kiwi Chris Riddell is unfortunately predisposed tonight, so it will just be me, but that doesn't mean that we won't have a fun night of Super Series action between the two of us. A nice intimate night between you and me. We are just sorting through a little bit of server issues just to start the night off with. So there's been some frantic reworking of everything going on behind the scenes, including me, that I've just realized. So I'm going to go fix that now. But while that's all going on, we'll take you through what the plan is for tonight. Of course, we are at Winton, and Winton is one of the most divisive tracks in in Australia, really. It's a track that some people like quite a lot. Others, like me, don't seem to care for all that much. I certainly don't really like the track as much as some others. I find it's a little bit stop-start, but that's okay. We will go with it anyway. I think in these cars, though, in these cars that are going to be very sort of pokey and really good on the throttle, they'll be nice cars to use for this event, for this series. So let's have a look at the calendar. We are, of course, at Winton Motor Raceway, our 4th round of the series. We have been so far to Malala, Motorsport Park, Wayfield Park, and Lime Rock. That was a cracking round last time out. A lot of chaos. And we still have 4 rounds after this. Lakeside, Oran Park, Manfield, and Long Beach. Now, I'm very much looking forward to Lakeside and Oran Park, because they are going to be incredible races and incredible tracks to race on. Let's have a look at the point standings from last time out, and we'll start with the RS class. It is Brenton Hobson once again leading the RS class after a great week's racing at Lime Rock. If I recall correctly, he took home 2 of the race victories, including... it was 1st and 2 seconds for Brenton Hobson, which saw him clinch the round with great driving from him and his teammate Luke Rosella. So that's what has seen Luke shoot up the standings, and he sits in 2nd place. Unfortunately, though, it seems that Luke isn't actually competing tonight. A uni conflict tonight, seeing him out of the mix. So unfortunate for Luke, but we will see Hobbo out on track. He's once again the star of proceedings. Damon Woods sits in 3rd place ahead of Brenton Foley, and then Luke Joyner rounds out the top 5 in the RS class. In the R class, it is Tim Redmond who has taken the lead in his wildcard entry ahead of Termo in the championship after winning one race last week for Tim Redmond. Termo actually pegged a little bit of time back, a little bit of points back on Redmond after last round at Lime Rock, but the gap is still 29 points. Steve Bolger sits in 3rd place, and it is Peter Thrower and Brock Harvey who round out the top 5. Word coming in once again that Tim Redmond will be abstaining from qualifying, so we'll see if he can do another last to first challenge. Now, while we wait for the last throws of practice to end, let's check out our racetrack. It is Winton Motor Raceway, 3 kilometers, 12 turns in a clockwise direction. It'll be 14 laps tonight in each of the 3 races. Of course, we're looking at a qualifying results for the first race, full reverse grid by class for race 2, and a progressive grid onto race 3. Winton Motor Raceway, it's typified by a sort of absence of flow is what I'd call it. There's the difficult chicane 1 and 2 that you have to try to maximize to eke your way through. 3 and 4 at the top of the circuit are kind of bold and but they don't really have the exit space that you're expecting. And then the one fun part of the track, in my opinion, my personal opinion, remember, I'm not a driver, I'm just a broadcaster, the run through 5, the flip through 6, and the dive into 7. Expect to see a lot of passing through that section of track, as different lines provide different avenues for each car and each driver to dive down the inside. 7, 8, 9, very long sweeping hairpins, difficult on the tires in that section, and then passing opportunity again at turn 10. The last 2 corners on the track, the long straight down to 11, and then the cut back into 12, and that will bring you back onto the main straight. Now, while it looks like practice is still just finishing up, so we'll leave that there for the moment. In fact, what we'll do is we'll just take a quick break ahead of proceedings, and then we'll be back with qualifying just after this. And welcome back to Super Series Round 4 from Winton Motor Raceway. I'm Mike Olivari bringing you the action for tonight. We've just finished the practice session, so we'll get rolling straight on to qualifying in just a moment. We are just having a quick look at some incidents to report from last time out at Lime Rock, the stewards' rulings. There was a post-race penalty issued to Brock Harvey for an incident in race 1 with Darren Kemp. That didn't change the results all that much for Brock, who was languishing at the back of the field after that contact anyway. A few reckless driving penalties admitted throughout the field. An important one for Luke Joyner, who has got a rear of grid start for the next contested race. So he is in the server tonight in the RS class. So he will start from the bottom of the RS class for tonight's first race. He also took a 10-point championship hit as well for that one. A few warnings issued after that big pile up in race 2 at the very end of the second lap, but no one predominantly to blame for that one. A loss of 5 championship points for John McDonald for turning around Tim Redmond early on in race 3. And then finally, this is another big one. Brenton Foley issued a 15-second post-race penalty for contact with Brian Walsh as he was lapping Walshy. So a few things to take note of there. The big one as far as tonight goes is the pit lane penalty. Oh, sorry, the penalty for Luke Joyner, who will start the RS class rear of grid. And we'll just head into qualifying now. As here we go. We have, it seems that we don't have any cars in the server, which is a little disconcerting. So maybe we'll just back out of that one and see if we can figure out what's going on. We will have a class split once again. So it means that we'll have the R-Class cars around for the first 7.5 minutes. They'll have the track entirely to themselves. And then for the second half of the session, the RS class cars will be allowed out onto the circuit, and the R class cars will be finished up. Just waiting to duck into the server to bring you all the action. As I said, there has been a few little technical gremlins. A number of different configurations, or rather versions of this track exists across the AESC, the ASR, the AMS Oz, and the ASC group of drivers. So there has been a few mismatches that everyone is trying to sort their way through. And it looks like we are able to go into qualifying now. So we've got a few wildcards tonight as well. So we'll take you through all of them as they come through the field. So we've got Maku, or Maku. I'm not sure how you pronounce that one, but I'm going to go with Maku for the night. Be consistent. He's jumping in the number 54 car. Mike Coulston back in the racing seat. He's at the seat of the Camel Toe Racing number 66 car. Steve Warwick, Rory Smith, another one of the wild cards. He's in the number 89 car. Steve Olger, Glenn Miles, Brian Walsh in the number 27. Rody will be back at the wheel again. A Taipan in the GNEV racing car, taking Gary Neville's car around for a spin. John McDonald, once again, back in the series. He's driving Steve Burko's number 7 car. Ben Hall behind the wheel of his Harvey Norman Luke McHugh racing car. And then these are the RS runners, except for Tim Redmond, who, as we made mention, not taking part in qualifying. And that will be our field for the RS class. So what we'll do is we'll jump on board with Termo and see how he takes us around this 3-kilometer circuit. So coming down the main straight here, cross the line, start the lap. Tipping in, braking just the 100 board, riding the curb on the left there. Straightening her out to go over the right, using all the curb on the exit. And then into the old start finish straight. Braking just before the 50 board and tipping it in. A little bit of banking there, but the track gets very flat very quickly. And then once again, all the way over the curb as much as you can. And then turn 5, this beautiful sweeping left-hander. Double apex sort of deal here. And then just as you get to the curb there, it's the end of the first sector. Through 6, tip it in at 7, and hold on for dear life. You got to really get the front end to hug and cut the corner there to try and get the understeer managed. Oh, he's a bit loose through the middle part of turn 8. We'll lose a little bit of time there. And then turn 9, once again, a little early in the turn-in for Termo. He's struggling to get the back to switch around the way that he wants it. But he's come out of turn 9, and then turn 10, 11, and 12 to go. Good passing opportunity here, down at turn 10. Just a little wide of the apex there. Let's raise him a little wide on exit. But a 109.3, that's not a bad time. In fact, he is purple to the first and second sector so far, partly because he's the only person to the second sector. Nicks the curb at turn 11, does nicely there, and then throws it over turn 12. Not quite as clean as you would have wanted for his first lap out, but that's a decent lap nonetheless, and Termo will be the first one in anger. He sets a 139.5. Brock Harvey's actually gone quicker to the second sector. Or a quicker second sector time, sorry. As we've got Rody and Mike Coulston popping laps in. Oh, big use of the curb there at turn 11 for Harvey. A little smoother through the final corner. And down the main straight for Brock. Goes second, a 39.8. So only 0.3 of a second away from Termo's current pole sitting times. We've got a yellow flag in sector 1. That looked like it was for Rody, possibly off on the inside of the corner there. No, someone looked like they were off. Steve Bolger is coming through turn 5 now. Let's see his sector time. He's down by half a second on Termo to the first sector, which is a bit of a surprise. But this was where Turmo looked to be a little shaky, a little understeery. He didn't seem to have the balance of the car properly set up. Ooh, using a lot of road there to Steve. He tries to get the power down. And again, he's 8/10 now behind his contemporary that he's trying to chase here. Hasn't quite gotten to grips with this circuit yet. Doesn't look like for Bulge. He comes through the final sector, very wide through turn 11. That's going to throw that lap away and possibly even ruin the next lap as well. You just catch Roadie setting a PB. Oh, and then taking the shortcut at turn 1 was Roadie. Let's have a look at what John McDonald can do on this lap. He's a 140.0 so far. Decent times to the first and second sector marks. We're seeing improvement from Brock Harvey and a further improvement from Turmo, actually. And McDonald slips into the 39s. Well done. It's 39.886 for John. Remember, he is driving on a PlayStation controller. I believe he corrected me last time. So, very nicely done for John McDonald. Now, this has been the guy to beat in the R class so far tonight. Half second down on his lap time this time around, though, as we got 8 minutes and 40 seconds left in qualifying, which means only another 30 seconds left for these guys to start their lap time. Sorry, another minute, for these guys to start their final lap. And Turmo's coming into the pit, so I think he's done. He's calling it a day, and with a 6/10 advantage, that's not a bad idea. How about Brock? How's Brock's time at the minute? 8/10 down to the second sector split. So, not the cleanest lap from Brock Harvey so far. But he gets through the final corner. In fact, we've actually got a lap time that's just snuck in under the radar for this man, Steve Bolger. He's just come through and set a 39.8. That's more like it. In fact, he's just eclipsed John McDonald by 0.3 of a second in the Gravel Rash Racing number 87 car. So we'll stick with Bolger as the RS class cars are now allowed to be released to the circuit. All the R class cars are on their final lap, and Bolger's up. He's up very nicely to the first sector. A little bit of touch on the curb at turn 7. Slides the car very nicely through 8. And again, just kind of hugs the curb there. Nice arrowed run out of turn 9. We'll see the sector time when he gets to turn 10. It was in fact purple to sector 1. And a PB to sector 2, but he's thrown it wide at turn 10 and he's off and he's gone straight to the garage. So that's it for Steve Bolger. And I think most of the R class have finished up. We've got Maku on screen now as he comes through turns 8 and 9. He is the highest position car on track at the moment for the R class. We'll see his time as he gets to the second sector mark. And he's up by 0.2, which would be enough to see him eclipse Steve Warwick and slot into 5th in class. Nicely over the curb for Mac. Oh, and he comes into the pits. Mustn't have felt comfortable with something on that last part of the lap. Ben Hall come across the lane. He has set a personal best in sector 2, but not quite enough for him. And that is the conclusion of the R class field. Now, we got the RS class out of here. Only 4 cars tonight, unfortunately. A few people with commitments unable to make it, but that doesn't mean it's going to be any less of a show. As we've got a spin in the background. That looks like it was Nathan Higginson with a bit too much to the right foot. We'll check a replay of that out. And, oh, big slide into turn 1. And that is enough for him to go around. Lucky he didn't actually get cleaned up by anyone coming along immediately behind him is Higo. But we'll have a look at Hobson. In fact, we'll jump on board with Hobson and see how the Master operates. So we're just coming through turn 7 and 8. Hugging the apex very nicely. And then again, very narrow on entry to turn 9. But with the fresh tyres and the all-wheel drive, you can really dig the front of the car in and swing around. Turn 10 now gets a stop quite nicely. This will clearly be the best time of the session, as it is, of course, the RS class versus the R class machines. Very early on the turn in there for the final corner, and he's going to spring out the other side. And be a 33.6, so that's the time for everyone to chase. Let's see who else can get there. Higginson's already out. Luke Joyner, of course, with that rear of grid start, which is actually not going to hurt him too much, considering it's only a 5-man grid for the first race this evening. Rossi a little bit shaky over the curbs there at the end. And he will set a 30... Oh, yeah, in fact, he picked up a track cut, so no lap time for him. No lap time either for Brenton Foley. So these guys are leaving it quite late in the mix to pick it all together. So at the moment, the only one on a hot lap is Brenton Foley and Brendan Ross. Oh, sorry, Brendan Hobson and Brendan Ross. So we'll watch Ross. He's half a second down on Hobson's time to the first sector. A little wide there at 7. A little wide. Did nicely out of 9 to straighten that car up. As Hobbo on this lap, he's picked up a track cut, so he's not going to improve. 8 tenths now the gap between Hobbo and Ross to the second sector mark. Higginson's also on a flying lap. He's about a second and a half away overall thus far to the second sector. And it turns out to be 3.5 seconds by the time he gets to the line. We'll watch Ross come across the line. This looked like a lot smoother lap for him. He slots into second place, a second behind Hobson. He gives it away. So he's in the pit lane. He might get one more chance. Foley there had to very gingerly negotiate Nathan Higginson, who'd just come out of the pit lane. So we'll find Foley and we'll have a look at his lap time. This is his first flying lap for the PBF race engineering machine. Three tenths away to the first sector mark. As he gets the car settled down for turn 7. Not quite right at the apex. Now sector turn 8 and 9. Nicely through turn 9. Ooh, maybe a little wide just on the exit there, but smooth through the mid corner. Maybe just picked up the throttle a little too early, just putting a bit of power on understeer. He's 5 tenths away at the second sector marks. He comes through turn 10. That 33.6 for Brendan Hobson is looking pretty secure at the moment. But he's just started another flying lap for himself. So we'll catch up on his lap once we clean this one up for Foley. He'll get one more go at it, as will Higginson behind. Foley jumps into second, 34.4. So let's have a look at Hobson's current lap. 32 flat to the first sector, which we saw a brief glimpse was red to the first sector mark. We'll get a good idea of where he is now as he hits the second sector mark at the bottom of the straight here. And he's up by 2/10. So a great middle sector for Brendan Hobson. 105 flat to the second sector. This will be his last go at it as well. So leaving it all on the table here is Hobbo as he comes into the final two corners. A lot of curb there at 11, but settles the car nicely. And we saw him take that very early entry while we were on board with him. Let's see how he does now. He comes down the main straight to finish off the qualifying session. And it's a 33.4. Goes quicker. So he's got a second over the field. Whereabouts is Foley? What's he up to? 3/10 quicker to the second sector mark, but still 4/10 away from Hobbo's pole position mark, or his current pole position mark. So we'll track Foley around the last two corners. Let's see if he's as stable over the curbs. Gives the curbs a wide berth, so not even electing to touch the curbs there. Very smooth through the final two corners. Looked a little slow, but what looks slow is often fast. And he breaks into the 33s, a 33.9. So half a second away from Hobbo in that lap. What can Brendan Ross do? Can he maybe jump into the low 34s and try and disrupt the front row? 34.3, so half a second off his personal best, but a second away from Hobson at the head of the field. Nathan Higginson has finished up. He finishes with a 36.18 rather, as he backs it and misses the tyre wall there at turn 5. That is your qualifying session. So in the end, it was Termo who took pole in the R class, and Brendan Hobson, who was untouchable in the RS class, taking pole position by half a second. We've got John McDonald in the live chat saying that he doesn't know how on earth he's put it there, there being the second row of the R class grid. He's saying he might have cheated. I doubt you've cheated, John. I think you're just a good operator on the controller. I like that he's been allowed to compete and to have a go while on the controller in a race sim. It always is good fun jumping into a practice session on a controller and seeing who you can embarrass. So I think John's done a very good job there. So while we're waiting for the grid to get properly shaped up for the race session, we'll take another quick break and we'll be back very shortly. All right, welcome back to the first race of the evening in the Super Series, the ASR Super Series. Just a reminder of the format for tonight. We are at Winton, of course. First race just set by the qualifying you've just watched. So it is Brendan Hobson who will lead us away from the front row of the grid. 12 turns on this 3 kilometer circuit with 14 laps for tonight. In fact, I think we've just gone reset back to warm-up. So we will... I'll have to fill this with a bit more fluff. That's fine. 3 races, of course. 42-kilometer races tonight. So we have the qualifying results setting the grid for race 1. Full reverse grid by class in race 2. And race 3 will be progressive grid from the race 2 results. You might have noticed a large number of people missing from tonight's server, unfortunately. A lot of different commitments and occasions across both Australia and New Zealand resulting in that. So I think a few people are back at work soon because of lifting restrictions in New Zealand, I think, or in parts of Australia. Yes, Peter Thrower saying that he's his first day back at work in over 5 weeks due to lockdown. So for tomorrow, so he's elected to make a smarter decision to miss out on tonight's action to be ready for work. So very responsible from Peter Thrower. Dane Liccardo is saying that he's had a hard drive blow up, so he's been unable to make it tonight. And as we made mention, Luke Rosella unfortunately unable to make tonight because of uni commitments. Interesting that for those who missed it over the weekend, there was the V8 Scops Bathurst 1000. Luke Rosella was in the mix with his teammate, whose name I can't remember off the top of my head, until he unfortunately had a game dropout. So that car had to get towed back to the garage so that way his teammate could start up again. So unfortunate for Rosella. A few ASR regulars having decent results at the V8 Scops Bathurst 1000. It was a decent race to watch at in bits and pieces. Certainly some of the best of Australia's sim racing competitions or competitors rather. A 50-something car grid. It was kind of nuts to see that many cars crammed around Bathurst. But decent racing all around. A pretty wild finish as well. But no spoilers for that one. Yeah, and a few decent results from a few people in this field tonight. Notably Brendan Hobson. I think he ended up with a top 10 in the Scops race. And I think he was the best of the regulars, or best of the ASR, or best of the ASR regulars in that round. Looks like we picked up another RS entry for tonight. Scott Nolan has jumped in the server, so that brings our grand total of, RS competitors to 6. So you might be able to just hear a few people pattering along in the background. Just trying to sort out the grid for the first race. It should have been as easy as just plugging in the qualifying results, but of course with the post-race penalty for Luke Joyner, it has resulted in a modification to the qualifying results, which means a few little bits and pieces that the server has to agree with. And as we've come to notice with AMS over the years, it doesn't necessarily agree with everything that we try to do. Dropped in on a conversation earlier tonight between Nathan Higginson and a few of the other members, where Higginson was basically saying that the mod packs and the tracks and the cars that he and the other admins are trying to build for these races and these series they are striving for perfection so hard that it's getting to the point where AMS isn't able to handle it as nicely as it should. So we're kind of reaching the absolute limits of what AMS is able to provide for us, and it's provided a lot of great fun and great racing in the 2 years I've been doing commentary for ASR, and prior to that AMS Oz. So it's certainly served quite a long, extensive range of mods and range of tracks, and has enabled us to have a good fun time. Looks like we're just about a minute away. The warm-up session is just concluding now, and shortly we will be able to jump in for the first of tonight's 14 lap races. Just a quick reminder of the race format for tonight. 3 14 lap races, and as we made mention plenty of times, you should know by now, the qualifying format, the race format. We saw a lot of different lines, interestingly, through Sector 2, which I'm going to try and dissect as the night progresses. The differing apexes and floating sort of lines between turns 7, 8, and 9. Traditionally, you want to late apex 9 as much as you can, but with these all-wheel drive cars, we saw a lot of people, I think Turmo and Hobson that we were on board with, sort of hugging the apex as much as possible, so kind of getting as close to the curb as they could the whole way around, just trying to shorten the track up as much as possible. So we'll see how that plays out during the night. As we're still waiting on the last bits and pieces of the warm-up to finish up. 1 or 2 cars just still out on track. Of course, delaying proceedings as much as they possibly can. It's always fun. And we will shortly have the last car finish up their lap, and so we should be ready to go for the race in just a moment. Oops. That's not what I wanted to show you. That's what I wanted to show you. And here we hopefully go. 14 laps as the field starts to make its way onto the circuit. Glenn Miles giving us a nice taste of the is it a V6 engine in the Lancers? I think so. A lot of wildcards tonight, a total of 5 wildcards, I believe, across the R class. As we are just about to gear up for the race, hopefully. Waiting on Luke Joyner to make his way to the grid. And Tim Redmond. So Joyner's made it on. How about Tim Redmond? Looks like Redmond hasn't made it to the grid. That's okay. We will just have to start from pit lane. Starting from pole, though, is Brendan Hobson, the Synergy Sim Racing number 88 machine. He set a 1:33.8 to set the fastest lap in qualifying. That doesn't sound right. He set a quicker lap than that. That's fine. Very quick lap from Hobbo. He starts from the pole. A second on the grid is Brenton Foley in the PBF Race Engineering number 074 machine. And he leads Brendan Ross. So we got Brenton, and Brendan on the first 3 positions of the grid. Then Nathan, just to break the entire stream of consciousness there. So Nathan Higginson will start from 4th. Luke Joyner, rear of class start after his issues at Lime Rock, so he will start 5th. And Scott Nolan, the late entry, will start in 6th place for Synergy Sim Racing. Then we have the pole man in the R class, Turmo Motorsport, starting from 7th on the grid. Next to him is Brock Harvey in the MHRT Coca-Cola Racing R class car. Steve Bolger was a late jump up the qualifying list to start in 9th. He has John McDonald for company on the 2nd row of Class R. Steve Warwick will start from 11th in the Warwick Racing Team number... not sure what number he is. 63. There he is. Number 12, the wildcard is Maku. He will start from 12th place. Taipan in the GNEV Racing number 61 machine will start from 13th. Mike Coulson, the Camel Toe Racing number 66 car, will start from 14th. He's got Ben Hall for company right behind him, who will start 15th. Rody will start the first race in 16th. Glenn Miles will start 17th in the Wildcat Playboy Racing number 69 car. Number 27, Brian Walsh, will start from 18th. And the last car on the grid will be Rory Smith, racing in the number 89 wildcard machine. And Tim Redmond, as seen, will start from pit lane. So he's going to do a last to first challenge from the pit lane tonight, just adding to the difficulties. Just waiting for the field to form up to start the race. Last car's at the very back of the field. Revs rise. Lights are on. And away we go. It was a great start, it looked like, from Nathan Higginson from the 2nd row of the grid, who immediately goes to the inside. But it's going to be Hobbo versus Foley into the first corner. Oh, Foley tries to stay around the outside. Big clatter on the curb, and he doesn't quite make it through. So it's going to be Hobson who makes his way down into turn 3 in the lead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They all file through. And it looks like everyone's actually made it through the first few corners unscathed. So it is Hobson from Foley from Higginson who jumps into 3rd place. Brendan Ross in 4th. Looked like Scott Nolan and... Oh, Scott! He just stepped out of the groove just a little there. Managed to hold it together. He sits in 5th place as he goes. Just trying to dive down the inside to maintain his position there. He holds it together in 3rd. It's still Turmo. It's Steve Bolger now in 2nd. He managed to get the jump on Brock Harvey. And John McDonald's still sitting there in 4th in class for the R class. Let's come down towards turn 10. Oh, he goes a bit deep under brakes and he's spun it wide. Power slides it out the other side and only loses the 2 spots. I think he might have even got a wheel on the grass there, which is why he sprayed it wide at turn 10. But all in all, not too much of a problem, not too much of an issue, all things considered, as he continues on. Oh, wide there from John McDonald at the last corner. That's going to put him under pressure from Steve Warwick. Let's jump on board with Warwick as he swings to the outside, going through turns 1 and 2. And we got a yellow flag for a moment. No, it's all good. McDonald goes very defensive to hold off the charge and does well enough. So these guys basically staying exactly where they were. Let's head back up to the RS class because Higginson has Scott Nolan behind him, which is a bit of a surprise. I believe they were the other way around. So let's have a quick look at the replay if we can. So it looks like Higginson and Nolan had maybe made a mistake or gotten into the side of each other. I'm not sure. Probably should stick to the live action while it's on the screen. Here you go, just a little wide through the middle part. These guys have actually fallen into the clutches of the R class. And in fact, Nolan's given, here you go, the hurry up there to try and get them to power on away. But yeah, you can just see in the background Turmo not too far away from the rear of this group. Or this pair, rather. Actually, what we're going to do is we're going to go back up the front and have a look at this battle. Because the Brenton battle, we're going to call it, Brenton Hobson, Brenton Foley, and Brendan Ross. They've already broken away at the front to the tune of 3 seconds over Luke Joyner. As they start lap 3. And Foley's got a great run. Swings out to the inside to try and make a move at turn 3. He's not quite there. Has he got the room to do it at 4? Not yet. He's really working the rear of that SSR RS class Lancer. As they swing through turn 5. Right up onto the tail here. Is he going to shape for a dive down at 7? Yes, he does. Looks down the inside. They're going to go side by side through turn 7. Hobson's got the inside line now for 8. And that does just squeeze Foley out. Foley's going to try and do the over-under here to try and get the run down towards turn 10. Just in the background of shot as well, you can see the battle for 4th place. Joyner, Higginson, and Nolan very close together. As this group dive into turn 10, barely separated. And how's that for a shot? If you're a part of the Synergy Sim Racing group, you'd like the look of that. As Foley spears to the inside. Again, there's not really a lot of overlap. And they're going to go side by side through the final corner. A lot of curb taken by Foley. And Hobson's just going to hold on once again. This time properly on board with Foley through turns 1 and 2. He seems to be able to take a lot more speed in the braking zone at the moment. Maybe just a little bit more brave on the brakes. A little bit of grass there just before the curb, but that's alright. Picks up the throttle so much earlier in the mid-corner of 5. Is Hobson going to cover him off this time? Or not quite up far enough once again? Oh, the position's changed though. Can Foley hang it around the outside at 8? He's up much further this time around compared to last lap. Can he hold it there for turn 9? Hobson squeezes him towards the apex when they're going to exit side by side. I think the drag race is going to be won by Hobson. I don't want to leave this battle because it's so very, very tight. There's another few battles further down the order. Nolan's actually gotten through on both Higginson and Joyner for the 4th place. You can just see that in the background there. Turmo is holding off Steve Bolger and Brock Harvey to not much for gap, truth be told. And John McDonald and Steve Warwicker engaged in blows as well. It's all very tight stuff as we start lap 5. Now, I think Foley here is going to play it a little smart. He's certainly much quicker through the mid-corner, especially at turn 5. So if he's smart here, he might be able to think a bit about where he can pick up the throttle, give himself a little bit of room, and make that diving arrow at turn 7, on the entry to turn 7, to really take that line away. Because here is where his pace is. We've seen on board now twice that in the mid-corner here, he's able to pick up the throttle so much earlier, but he almost has nowhere to go. He catches the rear of Hobson a bit too quickly. This time he elects to stay in the wheel tracks as Brenton, and Brendan are all once again nose to tail. A little wide in the mid-corner for Hobson. Foley tries to just get the overlap around the outside. But he's got a nice run this time. Hobson stays to the left, eventually drifts over to the right. Can Foley make the dive into turn 10? He does. Again, side by side, Hobson's just not giving any little bit of space on the outside of the corner. He's not allowing Foley to take away that racing line on the exit, and that's allowing him to get the power down and prevent this pass being made. Drive-through penalty for Nathan Higginson. That would be track limits already at lap 5. That's very early for track limit violations, especially in a sprint race. What we're going to do is we're going to go on board once again. We're going to go from the driver's seat. This time into turn 1. It's looking a lot nicer. Hobson's brave on the brakes. Is the overlap on? He tries the over-under. Right up the wheel tracks of the number 88 car. Can he make the dive down into turn 3? Hobson's run wide. Hobson's run onto the grass. And Foley uses a lot of curb there. Crashes over the curb. They're going to go side by side through 5. If Foley can stay around the outside, oh, it's going to be close. Has to duck in. It's a little too wild there on the outside of 5. And in fact, he's lost a little bit more space. So while there's half a car length between these guys, what we'll do is we'll just take stock of some of the other battles. Nolan, as I mentioned, got through on Joyner and Higginson. Higgins had to make a drive-through penalty for track limits. Termo holds the Class R lead from Steve Bolger there, you can see. And then there's Brock Harvey. There's Nathan Higginson, John McDonald, Steve Warwick, Taipan. Mike Coulston sitting at a nice 13th, which is 7th in class. Maku, Rody, Rory Smith, and Ben Hall, rather. And Tim Redmond, only just on the back now of Glenn Miles. In fact, making that move, is he? He's certainly thought about it. In fact, Miles makes it easy for him. So a little bit of work to do still for for Redmond, as this battle group at the front has spread out just a little bit now. Once again, Foley very, very close through the opening sector, but it's here that he's had the real pace on Hobson. Right up the rear. Is he going to dive again this time? Not quite. Looks like Hobson's just been able to stifle Foley's productivity and his pace advantage right when Foley needs it most. So he might have just used a little bit too much of the tyres or something along those lines. Winton, not normally renowned for being a tyre killer. It's very even around the entire car. So it's not like, say, Lime Rock last week, or last time out rather, where the front left gets absolutely murdered by all the right-hand corners. Here you've got a decent mix of right-hand and left-hand loaded corners, so it's much more even wear across the whole car. John McDonald and Steve Warwick are closely matched on track. In fact, here is that battle between the two drivers. McDonald to the inside to defend into turn 10. And doing a very good job of it. As you see just in the background of shot there, the battle for the leaders. This is for 4th place in the R class, as Warwick just runs a little wide there and actually lets McDonald off the hook just a little bit. We've got a Go Brock in the chat, so we'll find Brock Harvey and see where he is. Catching the power slide at the perfect time. He sits 3rd in the R class, just behind Steve Bolger. Oh, it looks like actually we've had a problem for Scott Nolan, who sits in 16th. So what's happened to Scott? Not exactly sure what's happened to Nolan. Probably just had a spin or something or other. He's fallen down the order. This is where the intrigue is on track at the moment. Still, the battle for the lead of the race. The Brenton battle. The Bren X battle. That's what we're going to call it. So they come through turns 1 and 2 once again. We're on lap 9 now, so only 5 laps remaining, including this one. So 5 laps for Foley to find a way through on the championship leader. Jump on board through this section of track once again. And that pace advantage that Foley had in the middle of that corner has disappeared. He's not able to pick up the throttle as early as he was earlier on in the race, which means that come this section of track, he's not able to effect an overlap or try and force Hobson wide. He's close though. He's very, very close through the middle part of the lap. Again, Hobson taking a wider line through 8 to sort of hug the entry at 9, which could leave him a little vulnerable on the exit, but he powers down enough on the exit nicely. Just enough to keep Foley behind. Got some word coming through the live chat that Hobson's been working on the tyre saving out front, which was an issue we definitely saw at Lime Rock. And it might be just affecting the battle for the lead here as well. Big use of the curbs there for Foley. It didn't quite work out for him on the exit. And in fact, Ross is looking very racy as well. Let's just jump on board with Ross and see how the race looks from his perspective. Ross, someone who's known for being a little harder on their tyres, maybe using a little more of the right foot in his driving style. And it's going to get complicated soon because there is, of course, lap traffic to think about in the near future. In fact, we've already got a car a lap down. Rory Smith, I think. So these guys continue to battle away. In fact, just as I said, it looked like Ross was getting the upper hand. It looks like he's actually dropped away in that middle section. As I'm pretty sure I just caught Nathan Higginson in the background of shot there, hitting the wall on the exit of turn 2. We'll have to catch up with him later and find out why. It looks like John McDonald has had a problem. He's actually had to come through the pits. So, not sure what's happened there for McDonald, whether or not that's tyres or something else. He's come through the pits. We've got, I think that was Mike Colston who had an incident. Yeah, through turn 1. Yeah, hit the curb, spun the car through turn 1. And he's been able to get back going. Ooh, or has he? He got back on track and then made another mistake a corner later, which is unfortunate for Mike. But it's good to see him back behind the wheel. He might even be struggling with some tyre drama because it looks like that car is not all that settled at all. Brian Walsh will be the next car to face the charging leaders as lapped traffic. You can just see them in the background of shot there. In fact, what we're going to do is we're going to find this battle. Tim Redmond and Ben Hall. A little love tap from Tim coming through the final corner. It comes down the main straight. Ben Hall to the inside. Tim wraps around the outside. In fact, I think Ben just let him go there. Knew that his goose was cooked. And handballed Tim off onto the next one, which will be Maku further up the track. So the tune of about 8 seconds. So that's quite a gap that Tim has to find if he wants to finish in, pardon me, 11th place. Luke Joyner coming into the pits. Maybe it is difficult on tyres. Brendan Ross in the pits. So it looks like tyres are going to be a deciding factor in this race, with both Foley and Hobson still out on track with 3 laps remaining. It could mean that the tyres decide the race in the late stages. Of course, remember, we are running with tyres model at 2 times tyre wear, as Glenn Miles is just awkwardly positioned for Foley to make his way around. Oh, and unfortunately, we've lost Mike Coulston from the race. So, unfortunate for the Saudi Camel. I'm sure we'll see him back for the next race this evening. Oh, it looks like we've lost Ben Hall as well. So, I'm not sure what's happened to Ben. It looks like he's gone off already. He's gone off at turn 10. Has he just pulled it off at turn 10? He might have blown an engine, perhaps. Another drive-through penalty for Higo as Glenn Miles dives into the pits. Gap at the front has expanded now out to the tune of a second. Last lap, a 37.5 for Hobson. A 37.5 also for 37.5 for Foley. A 36.8 for Hobson. And it was in the middle sector, so the loaded sector. So maybe the tyres have just fallen away and Foley is struggling to make it home. This is still the closest battle on track in class. We've got Scott Nolan and Steve Warwick on track very, very close together. But of course, Nolan is in the RS class. So it's expected that he will make short work of Warwick's Class R. In saying that though, as Glenn Miles gets a drive-through penalty for pit lane speeding. Is that a slow Brock Harvey coming down the main straight? Yes, it is. A 51.4 last lap around for Brock. And it was particularly slow in the last sector. But slow all round, truth be told. Another drive-through penalty for Nathan Higginson. There's Steve Warwick. There's Luke Joyner. Taipan. And Tim Redmond. He's made his way through on Mackie. Remember, that was an 8-second gap. That's disappeared immensely. So Redmond here, if he keeps going at this pace, what was his last lap time? A 41.2. He is easily the fastest of the R-Class cars on track at the moment. So keep an eye out on Tim. He could possibly catch Taipan in that GNEV racing machine just up the road. Oh, as Mackie goes well wide at turn 6. Possibly a tyre problem there. Tim could catch Taipan. In fact, Taipan's just powered past Brock. Something's going wrong with Brock's car there, and it's probably tyre drama. So he gets absolutely rounded up by everyone. He's dropped massive amounts of times, has Brock Harvey. So now this gives Taipan and Tim Redmond a chance at, what, 4th in class? Termo leads the R class as he starts his final lap. Then it's Steve Bolger, 2nd in class. Scott Nolan and Luke Joyner in the RS class. Steve Warwick is 3rd in the R class. Taipan struggling with the front end up the top end of the circuit, but Tim Redmond is right there. So this is for 4th place in class. But we will go find our race leader. It is Brendan Hobson once again. Brendan Hobson just absolutely astounding, holding his tyres together under the blowtorch that was Brendan Foley's pressure early on in the race. Hobson has done it again. He's going to come across the line to take another race victory and extend his championship lead in this ASR Super Series. Well done to Brendan Hobson. Foley will come across the line in 2nd place. It looks like he struggled with tyres at the very, very end. Very slow final lap for him. as Rhodey finishes behind him in style. Brendan Ross electing to take the pit stop. He'll finish 30 seconds further back, but still in third place. Scott Nolan coming under pressure from our R-Class leader, which is Turmo. Oh, Turmo's running wide at the penultimate corner. And it's going to be Bolger. Bolger's going to come through and he's going to take the win on the penultimate corner. Turmo's made a mistake. Might have been tyre problem, might have been engine problem. But regardless, it's allowed Bolger to come through and take the victory on the last lap. The last corner of the race. Turmo comes through in second. Luke Joyner will finish in 5th place for the RS class. And Tim Redmond, he's going to take the podium. He's managed to get through both Taipan and Steve Warwick on the last lap. Redmond up to 3rd. What an absolute finish from him. Warwick in 4th, Taipan in 5th. Brock Harvey has gone a lap down. No, he's not. He's struggling. That's a punctured tyre there. And he is struggling to make it home. He is, I think, the last car on the lead lap. Yes, because Rhodey finished in 12th, 1 lap down. So Harvey will not drop any further than 11th place. But he is absolutely struggling to get home on some rims there. Hobson's actually just helping him around the track as he fights to get it home. Or is he just going to get around? Yes, he is. The flash of the lights from Hobson. The flash of the lights and appreciation from Harvey. He finishes the last runner on the lead lap in 11th place. Rhodey finished in 12th. John McDonald, a fighting finish in 13th. Maku in 14th. Tie dramas for him late on the race. Nathan Higginson, a few penalties saw him drop down to 15th overall. Rory Smith in 16th. Glenn Miles, Brian Walsh, Ben Hall, and Mike Coulston, the 2 non-finishers. Cracking race there, and a lot of intrigue at the front. And in fact, we've got Brenton Foley in the booth with us. Brenton, what a race from you at the front. It was the battle of the Brennies out there for a long time. Oh, hang on, Brenton. We're not getting you through. Hang on. We're not getting you through our broadcast, so we're just going to try and rectify that. Can you try again for us?
Yeah,
beautiful.
It was a really good race at the front. How's that?
Yeah, absolutely perfect.
Yep. So, I kind of worked out pretty early on that Hobbo would definitely be saving tyres because I knew he could go a bit faster than what he was doing. But I know that me and myself, I am no good at saving tyres, so my strategy was pretty much try and make him use tyre. And I did my best. I wanted to get in front of him and cause him a bit of drama, but it's always fantastic racing Hobbo. He always gives excellent racing room, and it's just a pleasure to race him. But he fought well. He blocked in every spot and positioned his car. It's probably why he's such an expert. And I had to back it off in the last couple of laps because my tyre popped, I think, on the 3rd last corner of the last lap.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we noticed you going slowly at the end there. A great battle in the first sector. It looked like you had a lot better pickup of the throttle through turns 5 and 6. Do you reckon with maybe a few more laps you could work a way to squeeze your way around him in that section?
That's probably where he was saving tyre because the tyre's under load as you're accelerating there. So I actually reckon he probably could have picked up the throttle a little bit more, but I was just trying to use that to try and force him to do it as much as I could. And he held out really well.
Yeah, it was a great race between the three Brennies at the front there. We got Brenny number 3, Brendan Ross, sitting in the booth as well. How was the view from your seat?
I'm sick of saying Brentons and Brentons.
Yeah, imagine trying to commentate on that.
Brenton and Brendan show.
Yeah, exactly.
That was good fun. Sort of had a little bit of pace to keep up with them, but couldn't really fight. But in the end, I really banked on a pit stop, hoping they might burst some tyres, but they were able to hold on to their tyres pretty well, considering how hard they were battling.
I'm not sure if you heard, but Foley said that he had one of his tires burst at turn 10. So your hope was not all in vain. It was just a little too late for you right at the end there.
Yeah, I think mine was probably going to go anyway. I had a little bit in reserve, but I was sort of, like I said, banking on it. A shame that Foley really couldn't stay all the way because his tyres, he's a class above everyone with Hobbo too. So yeah, but that's racing. Hopefully race 2 goes a little bit better.
Yeah, race 2, of course, the reverse grid by class. You guys will be starting ahead of Hobson. Any hopes for you guys to be able to hold him back?
Get a lead ahead of him.
Well, you guys are only going to be one car each ahead of him, so I hope that you guys can be the cork in the bottle there.
Thanks, Floody.
No problems. I'm all for good racing, and if Hobbo has to work hard, then that's good racing, isn't that right?
Oh, we'll look after you then.
Love to see it. Thanks, lads.
Thank you.
We'll get everyone set up for race 2. Of course, race 2... Oh, that's the point standing. Is that what I want? Race 2 is the full reverse grid by class. We've actually got another entry in the RS class to fill out the grid. Cracker has jumped in the server, so he'll be starting from the rear of the RS class. No major incidents really to talk about in that race. Everyone managed to sneak their way through without any issue. And just while they're all having a little bit of a de-stress in a warm-up session, what I'm going to do, actually, is I'm just going to put us on a camera on the front straight, if I can find it, and just go have a bit of a pit stop myself, and let you guys enjoy the cars blasting around. Where are we? Where are we? Where are we? The joys of live TV, ladies and gentlemen, or live broadcast mess. There we go, that'll do. So enjoy. The last few seconds of the warm-up session ticking away as the drivers blow off their last little bit of steam in between races. It's a nice view through turns 1 and 2. Oh, as Nolan gets a little close there. It really gives you a sense of how hard the cars are working, how hard the drivers are working through that section of track. There's a lot of time to be gained in this section as McDonald, Rhodey, and someone gets a bit out of shape there. They all sneak through the other side. And we'll leave them well enough for own. Remember, full reverse grid by class for race 2, which means that you will see Steve Bolger and Turmo as the front row of the R class, and Nathan Higginson and Scott Nolan as the RS class front row. Unfortunately, while Cracker has only just joined the server, he'll have to start from the back of the field as he didn't contest race 1, Mike Coulston and Ben Hall, despite starting the first race, as they were non-finishers, they will have to start from the rear of the R-Class grid. We have seen the reverse grid races cause quite a bit of chaos, so maybe that will result in a little bit more tyre usage that the front runners will have to manage. If you're looking for more Super Series action, we'll look no further. After tonight's action, we will be at Lakeside Motorsport Park, or Lakeside Park Circuit, in a few weeks, actually. We've got a break after this week. So normally we would have a fortnightly event, but it looks like there has been a break added to the schedule. So we won't see you guys in next fortnight. It'll be in almost a month's time, actually. And then Oran Park, Wakefield Park, and Manfield Circuit, and Long Beach to finish out the season on the 7th of December. There will be also if you're looking for other sim racing to watch, the ASR Supercars Enduro Cup has its second round next Saturday, if I recall correctly. Not this coming Saturday, but next Saturday, the first weekend in October, which will be a double header at the Gold Coast. So make sure to check that one out. I'll be on comms alongside Steve DeVries, Netherelmian on the Outworld Broadcasting Channel, as will Chris Riddell, fingers crossed, all things permitted. I've seen the schedule for that race, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We've got a split format again, qualifying on the Saturday, main races on Sunday. There's one or two extra little bits and pieces as well to fill out the entertainment for you on that evening. But we are here, ready to go for race 2. It is Nathan Higginson that will lead us off of the pole position. He finished down the order in race 1 after a few penalties. Luke Joyner will start on the front row alongside him. They have Scott Nolan for company. He will start from 3rd place. Then it is the Brendan gang. Brendan Ross starting from 4th. Brenton Foley starting from 5th. And race 1 winner Brendan Hobson starting from 6th place. That is the RS class, at least the first crop of the RS class. They will be streaming away at the front. Brian Walsh will lead off the R class alongside his teammate Glenn Miles in the pair of Wildcat Playboy Racing machines. Rory Smith in the wildcard car will start from 9th place. He took an early pit stop, which was what saw him drop down a fair way through the order. Maku in the second of the wildcard cars will start from 10th. He ran into tyre issues late in the race. John McDonald will start from 11th place. He was in a battle with Rhodey late on, who was the first car a lap down. He finished in 12th. He will start from 12th in this next race. Brock Harvey, we saw his problems in the latter stages of race 1. He starts from 13th. Taipan will start from 14th. He ended up finishing 5th in the first race in R class. Steve Rock will start from 15th place overall. And then Tim Redmond fighting his way on the last lap to claim a podium in R class. Very, very well done for Tim. Turmo, a story of woe on the other hand, had a mistake or a tyre failure on the penultimate corner, which saw him run wide and gift the win to this man, Steve Bolger, who will start from 18th place, the effective rear of the R-Class field. The only cars behind him, Mike Coulston in 19th, who DNF'd after a few spins in the mid-race. Ben Hall, who had what looked like an engine failure at turn 10, will start from 20th. And Cracker, an RS machine from the very tail of the grid, he will start from 21st position. 21 cars, the field has been growing through the night. Nathan Higginson will lead us off on this race 2. Another 14 laps coming your way in just a moment. Once again, we can see the field all stacked up and ready to go. Just waiting on the lights to get race 2 underway. Seems to be a little bit of a delay for some reason, but there we go. And we're away. A long hold there. Didn't seem to bother Higginson though, who sprints straight across the front. He will start from the pole and take the whole shot into turn 1. Very nicely done from Higo. As Joyner comes under pressure, and there's a spin in the background. That's Tim Redmond, who's had a spin. And he'll have to do the hard work all again. Let's see if we can figure out... Oh, it wasn't Redmond. It was Miles then. Oh, Walsh rather. So what happened to Walsh as we come through turns 1 and 2? Well up on the curb and actually made contact with Glenn Miles. And that's what speared him off. So he is now down in 20th position. As it looked like Maku had to start from the pit lane there. Higginson's cracked on to a few car lengths lead at the moment. As Nolan has to fight his way through Luke Joyner. He's got Brendan Ross for company. And Hobson's already made the move through on Foley. So that's not what Foley would have wanted. He would have wanted Hobson to be stuck behind him for as long as possible. As Nolan runs wide outside of turn 9. And he's going to come under fire from Ross. They come through towards the turn 10. They'll sneak their way through, but it's already a big lead for Higginson. This group comes through line astern. Let's have a look at the R-Class, and it's John McDonald who's jumped up 4 positions to lead the R-Class. Great work from him. As the rest of the field bounds through. Brock Harvey, Glenn Miles, and that's Tim Redmond already screaming through the field. Taipan, Warwick, Bolger, Turmo, Cracker's making his way through. Hall, Rhodey, and that would have been Smith and Coulson rounding out the field. Have a look at Tim Redmond, up 7 places already into 3rd in class. He's very shortly going to have Harvey and John McDonald you'll expect in his rear view mirror. Such has been the dominance of Redmond in the R-Class Lancers. And then have a look at that angry battle pack just behind. We'll get a shot of them very shortly. Oh, in fact, I'm actually just going to go back up the front because it looks like Brendan Foley is putting Nolan to the sword here. Looks like he's managed to get around Hobson and Ross and is now pressuring the Synergy Sim Racing number 18 machine. Very narrow corner exit here. And we're right on board with Rossi to see what he sees through the front of his car. Foley terrorizing the rear of the number 18. As Ross just drops a wheel off the exit of turn 10. Big dive from Foley. Is he going to be able to pull it up? Oh, where'd he go? Where'd he go? Where'd he go? No, he goes wide, and that's opened the door for not only Nolan, but maybe Ross as well. Actually, he's got it done. Wow, let's have another look at that. Let's jump on board with Nolan here. You'll see him switch from the left mirror to the right and fire through. Does Foley. A little bit of a nudge, a little bit of a nudge. Oh, a bit more of a nudge there. And he forced his way through. I think Nolan might not be the calmest man under the collar at the moment after that little passage. He's not known for being calm. But he'll certainly have some sort of feelings, some thoughts about how that's gone down. At the moment, he sits in 4th place with Ross and Hobson behind. Check out the gap still that Higginson has. He's still got a decent, 2 seconds now over Luke Joyner. We'll head back to the R class now, and as we made mention, John McDonald. Oh, we got Glenn Miles and Taipan in the wars here. Let's look at what happened to Taipan, because I feel like we might see the answer to both here. So Miles has run a little wide. Taipan is looking... Oh! Miles has hit the curb, and that's actually cleaned both of them up. It looks like Miles has hit the wall at the marshal post, and then Taipan has just rolled his way back onto the circuit. So lucky that wasn't a bigger problem for Taipan. Miles has gotten going again as well. The big dent in the front. So unfortunately, both Wildcat Playboy racing machines who started on the front row in R class have found themselves out the very back with problems and incidents. And look, Miles is really struggling in that car at the moment. It's unfortunate for Miles as Taipan starts his recovery drive. But here we go, Bolger and Turmo down the main straight. Let's jump on board with Bolger as you come down towards turns 1 and 2. Remember, these guys were the 1st and 2nd placed cars from last race. A lot of sliding from Turmo through the mid corner there, but he doesn't look too bemused. That's Steve Warwick just ahead of him, and Cracker, who is still making his way through the field. We'll go a bit further up the field and have a look at Brock Harvey, Tim Redmond, and John McDonald. McDonald's done well here. He's done well to defend and hold Tim Redmond off, which has actually allowed Brock to just play into this a little more than he was a few moments ago. Very defensive lines from McDonald, and Redmond's all over the rear of the C7 machine, normally driven by Steve Burko, now at the hands of John McDonald, the controller of John McDonald. Oh, Redmond very, very close there. We'll jump on board with Redmond as he looks to make the move. McDonald just got a little held up on the exit. It was just a little too deep, and Redmond's managed to squeeze his way through. McDonald takes the defensive line through turn 11. Can he hold on to it? Ooh, 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 ooh. Redmond goes well over the curb at turn 12. There's contact there as well. And in fact, let's jump on board with Cracker as he tries to get through this mess. First, Brock. Nicely done. McDonald, he had to slot in between Brock and McDonald there. That wasn't ideal for Cracker. And in fact, he can't get through on McDonald this time around. So he's going to have to sit there and wait for at least another corner. And there you go, he's through now. And that actually... Oh, McDonald loses the rear! Just holds on to it. Is that going to incentivize Brock Harvey to make a move? Goes around the outside at 6. And is the cutback on at 7. McDonald had to go deep there. He had to wrap up the car. He had to hold on to it. And he's not looking stable. He's not looking like he's got a handle on it just yet. Harvey takes the wide entry. Tries to narrow up the exit and try and get the power down as quickly as he can. And McDonald holds on for the moment. Scary moment there for McDonald right in the middle of the pack. Check out the lead for Nathan Higginson though, as we come through on lap 6. So we've just completed lap 5. He's got a 3-second gap towards Luke Joyner, who's now got his hands full with Brenton Foley. So MHRT versus PBF. And a bit further back, Hobson and Nolan, neither of them really upping the pace at all. Very much languishing at the back of the field there. Let's have a look. Last lap around, Luke Joyner got a track cut. Brendan Foley a 35.6. Ross a 37.2. Nolan a 38.2. Hobson a 37.4. So not quite the pace that we were expecting from the RS class machines, especially those of Synergy Sim Racing. Maybe they're struggling with a little bit of tyre balance. Maybe they're just trying to find a little bit of tyre savings to maybe make a attack at the end of the race. But at the moment, it doesn't look like they've got too much to fight with. Here they are, the two Synergy Sim Racing cars, Nolan and Hobson. Through turn 1 on lap 7. So not yet at half distance to this race. Hobson's got a decent run here. And it would not surprise me to see the blue example overtake the green Synergy Sim Racing machine over the course of this lap. You can hear a bit of tyre squealing in the foreground. That's the Brendan Ross machine coming through turn 7. Wide there on the exit for Nolan. That's going to incentivize Hobson to take the narrow exit out of 9 and possibly sneak down the inside with the better run at 10. It's not quite there. Maybe they're just trying to play a team game, trying to pace each other up towards the front of the field. Problem is, these guys are losing time, both of them. They're losing out to Ross and Foley. The gap is only getting bigger. And unless they're sure of their tyre strategy and they're sure that they can recover that later as everyone else falls off. Yeah, we've got NZ Snipes in the live chat, ASR regular. He's saying that this is the pit strategy versus the non-pit strategy. So interesting that they're putting all of their eggs into the one basket here. It looks for the moment as if they're falling well behind, but it's not quite. It might come back to them later on in the race. On the other hand, Foley's just put in a cracking lap, a 36.3, while passing Luke Joyner on that lap. And he has cracked about a second of the lead away from Nathan Higginson, as they've passed half race distance now. Foley, remember, told us in the interim that he had his tyre blowout the third corner from home. So, while that was a luxury he was able to afford in race 1, race 2 might be a different story. So, he's almost on the tail of the RS class leader of Nathan Higginson. And we'll leave that for the moment and go catch up with our R class. Tim Redmond leads the way at the moment. Got a decent gap over our second place driver, Brock Harvey. There he is. Few Brock Harvey fans in the live chat. currently in second. Hopefully he's able to save some tyres. And then here's a bit of a battle. John McDonald, who remember started in 11th place and had the early lead of the race in the R class. He is just ahead of Steve Bolger and Stephen Warwick as well. Both of which are trying to find their way through the field after good results in race 1. Bolger actually looks like he's got a decent head of steam. And we'll jump on board with Bolger. Let's come down the main straight. And we'll stay with Bolger and we'll just watch this battle and see how it goes. Oh, and it's not going to be much of a battle because John McDonald runs a little wide through turn 1, which ruins his exit to turn 2 and allows Bolger to go straight through at turn 3. Easy as you like in the end for Bolger. He has a few seconds to try and chase down on Brock Harvey for second in class. But I think Tim Redmond already with an 8-second advantage is too far gone. We're going to head back up to the front of the field and catch up with our battle for the lead once again. Because it looks like this time a change is on the cards. Higginson goes defensive as we ride on board with Foley, who drives the spontaneous Van Gisbergen type move through turns 1 and 2. Higo was wise to it though, shut the door, come through 3. A lot of curb that time for Higo. And narrow on entry for 4. So this is going to open up now and allow Foley to get a decent run on him through 5. And is the dive on through 7? No, Higo goes very defensive, very defensive. Forces Foley around the outside, and there's not nearly enough room there for Foley to get the power down. So, very smart driving there from Higginson. Very aggressive defending. But it preserves the lead for him, at least for this lap. It looks like Steve Warwick's gotten past John McDonald as well as Higo goes wide through turn 10, which is going to open up the door for Foley to maybe make a run down the outside. Gets down. There's an overlap about a bumper's width. Hard on the brakes are both of them. Higo just shuffles Foley wide. Oh, that's a bit more than a shuffle there. That's a knock as Higo goes all over the curb at turn 12. We're right under the rear bumper of the Lancer RS as they come through towards turn 1. Higo much narrower on entry to turns 1 and 2. So they're going to open up and allow Foley the chance to get a run. Higo's running very defensive here. And he's maintaining it. He's maintaining it for the moment. But is there room down here at 4? Not quite. Higo once again does enough. And this is bringing Joyner back into it. These lap times, they're 37.8 last lap around for Foley. He's really getting stuck behind the Higginson mobile. And it's causing these guys to suffer. So Foley, if he wants to make a move, he's got to get it done soon. Because otherwise Joyner's going to be in the mix of this. Ross is going to be in the mix of this. And you never know, Hobson and Nolan, who have since swapped positions, they might be in the mix as well. Here we go. Joyner's made this a 3-car battle as quickly as you like. Very, very wide line through turn 9, trying to get the maximum power down for Foley. And he's got the inside line here. It's going to be very, very close. Higginson tries to move over, but there's already a car there. They're right up against the edge of the track. This time Foley comes through, but Higo sprays it wide. And Joyner's possibly even going to get through as well. Can Higo hold on? There's a touch. He's gone very, very deep at turn 11, and he's got to give it away. So that's 2 positions lost now for Nathan Higginson, as his aggressive defending has come back to bite him in a big way. Now the question is, can these guys make it to the end on tyres? And that's only something we're going to be able to find out with another 3 laps worth of running. So we've got a yellow flag just ahead. I think it might have been for Maku, who's just come through the pits and run into an issue. So, problem there for Maku. Oh, sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Still getting my head around the broadcast. So, interesting one there. Unfortunate for Maku. We've had a few more drivers pit. Rhodey, Coulston, Smith, Walsh, Miles, all through the pit lane. Hobson now only 4 seconds away from the lead. So, this could come back in Hobson's favour very shortly as these guys continue to battle. Let's have a quick check in with our R-Class. Cracker is the last RS runner. Remember, he started from the very rear of the grid. Tim Redmond has a massive gap over Brock Harvey. 13 seconds is the lead. Steve Bolger not too far behind. And then there's this battle. Steve Warwick, John McDonald and Turmo. Very, very lively stuff. Warwick and McDonald have been battling vigorously the last few laps. And as McDonald runs wide, it's going to open up the door for Turmo to scythe straight through. So Turmo now up into 12th. Just 5 positions up. Oh, McDonald's trying to squeeze through there at 5. There's not room to do that, John. He tried. He really tried. He tried to make 7/8 of a Lancer turn into a Lancer-sized gap. But Turmo has shut the door, and you would expect Turmo... Oh, as he gets a slam of the door from McDonald. Ben Hall just behind. Taipan, Mike Coulston making up a few positions. Rhodey, Rory Smith, Brian Walsh, and Glenn Miles, who's still suffering after that early race crash. Here we go. Foley's made his move. Hobson's made his move. He's made his way through on Brendan Ross and Nathan Higginson. Eclipsed both of them quite quickly. Next one for him is Joyner. Surgical down the inside at turn 7. And I think Joyner just scared himself off the track there. Wasn't really any contact. Hobson didn't take any of the room away. Oh, as Higginson has a DNF, which is unfortunate late on in the race. So close to the end of the race. Hobson was just surgical with his application of pressure there and scythed through the inside and will take second position. Now the question is there enough time for Hobson to catch Foley? 3 seconds the gap between the two R-Class leaders. Remember, these were the two protagonists in the last race. Hobson and Foley. As they come across the line to start the final lap of the second race this evening, the reverse grid race. The gap is 2.5 seconds, so another half a second lopped off in that sector alone. I'm going to leave these guys very quickly and catch up with this battle. The R-Class battle between Bolger and Harvey. Harvey has struggled late on the race with his tyres. So these guys will still have a lap and a sector to go. Bolger's looking very racy on the rear of that Coca-Cola machine, the MHRT Lancer. Harvey has to go defensive into turn 10. And it looks like Bolger might have the pace advantage, certainly, but can he get the positional advantage? They come through the last 2 corners. Gap at the front, still just over 2 seconds. In fact, it's come down quite a bit. Oh, we're going to have to leave this and go back to the front of the race because Foley is coming under siege now from Hobson. So there's a yellow flag just ahead, which will give Foley some respite. That's cleared already. It's going to be a last corner tangle for these guys as they come towards the line. Foley worked those tyres hard in the early phase of the race. Hobson held stuffing in the reserve. Is that going to be enough? Around the outside, turn 11. They give each other space. They give each other room. Turn 12, they're going to go side by side. Hobson comes out ahead on the last corner of the race. He's done it. He's done it. What a crazy drive. He timed that to perfection to take the victory on the last corner of the race. What a move. What a strategy. Well done, Brendan Hobson. Brendan Foley eclipsed at the line. Will come home for another second place. Brendan Ross in third, Scott Nolan in fourth. Their gap was only 0.1 of a second as well. Luke Joyner comes home in fifth. Cracker will cross the line in sixth. And then it is Tim Redmond, but we'll leave Tim Redmond to catch up with Brock Harvey again as he runs wide at turn 9. Bolger's going to go around the outside into turn 10. Look at the angry pack behind. Harvey's lost his tyres. Harvey's done. He's going to get round up here by Warwick and Turmo and even John McDonald as well. Oh, crazy stuff in the latter stages here as Turmo runs wide. His charge at Warwick is finished. Bolger's going to come through for second. Tim Redmond's crossed the line. He's won Class R by an absolute landslide. Bolger's going to come across the line for second. Then it's going to be Warwick and Turmo. And John McDonald. A great race from him, finishing where he started, managing to mix it with all the big boys at the head of the field. And once again, Brock Harvey in the dying stages of the race, running out of tyres. Taipan comes home 13th. Ben Hall will try to cross the line in 14th. In fact, I think he already has crossed the line, so he'll finish in 14th. Mike Coulston in 15th place. Rory Smith 16th. Rhodey in 17th. Brian Walsh and Glenn Miles rounding out the finishes. Nathan Higginson failed to finish, and Maku failed to finish. What a wild end to that race. And I'm going to see if I can bring up Brenton Hobson as well, because we'll have the two Brentons in the booth with us. We'll start with Hobbo, if you're there, Hobbo.
I'm here, yeah.
Yeah. Great race from you. Great strategy. We saw you keeping something in reserve, but you could not have timed that more perfectly.
I know. How was that? Pretty exciting.
Did you think you left it too late? When you started that last lap, you had 2.5 seconds to catch up. Did you think you'd left it too late?
Well, yeah, the thought was in my mind. I kind of needed, I needed him to really have that. Like, there's a cliff that the tires fall off just before they blow, and he hit that in the first race. I needed that to happen again to make that sort of gap back up. But I sort of thought that they were maybe committed to the pit stop, and then their pace just stopped. Like, I don't know, lap 7 or something like that. And that's when I thought, no, they're not going to stop. So from then on, I got back in front of Scott. I was just cruising on behind him and started to pick up my pace, knowing that I probably had to get close to them if they were going to stay out. And I mean, yeah, it was all luck, really, wasn't it? That I didn't wait half a lap later or half a straight later or anything, because it wouldn't have been enough otherwise. So it's a great job for them. Like, they went pretty hard early. It's a great job for them to make it all the way to the end without having to stop. So, yeah, it was good though.
Yeah, what a great move around the outside in the final pair of corners. Foley almost had it. You missed it by that much at the end. How about your race?
Good. My strategy was kind of definitely save tire. I worked on a few places and knew kind of where I could save it and only use it when I absolutely had to, which was past cars. And I knew I probably couldn't pull off what Hobbo did in that passing everyone right at the end. I didn't think that would work for me. So I thought when I get to someone, I'll use a little bit of tire, get past them and go straight back into conserve mode. What I didn't bank on is how well Higo defended for multiple laps. And I think that's kind of what cost me, because I was going down the straight the last lap, looking at the gap, and as Hobbo explained, like, they hit that cliff, and I knew coming out of that last corner, like, they'd hit that cliff, and I just had to give it all I had. And same again. This time it wasn't the third last corner; it was the last corner the tire went on me. But
wow,
managed to get it home. Still happy to get second.
Yeah, it was a cracking race and built up to a thrilling finish. We had a few people in the live chat, NZ Snipes as well, in particular, saying that it was going to be a conservation battle. Is that the sort of racing that you guys like between the two of you? That sort of the need to conserve, to have something to fight with later on in the race, or would you prefer to go hell for leather the whole time?
Either. The tires, I hate it. Just because I'm personally not so good at it. I'm known for burning up tires. It's my style of driving and all that. Saving fuel doesn't bother me, but tires is just, yeah, something I definitely still need to learn.
What about you, Hobbo?
I'd say that, like, this is the first time I've really had a type of race where tyre saving is like this. I mean, I've done a lot of, well, not say a lot, I've done a bit of oval racing, especially on iRacing, where tyre preservation is a big part of going fast, and that's sort of a similar concept. But in road stuff, like with this, it's not about just wearing your tyres out and losing speed, although that's what these do. You literally wear your tyres out and they explode off the car. So you have to really, really heavily conserve to not hurt them. And it's a different concept. Like I'm a fan of like fuel strategy type racing and things like that. I really love endurance racing for that reason, because there's a lot of strategy involved with it. But this is something different. I think my style probably suits looking after tyres a bit, because I tend to drive fairly straight a lot of the time. So I don't mind it, but it's also a bit different. I think I'd rather if it was like a fuel type one as opposed to tyres. Tyres are a bit awkward to try and drive around. You feel like for 9/10 of the race you're just dawdling around, but it's still strategy. So you kind of, it is certainly interesting. I mean, it put on for a good race, and arguably if we didn't have any tyre wear issues and I had reasonable pace in qualifying, and if we just did a straight 14-lap sprint with no conservation of any sort, that it may not be as interesting racing to watch. So I think it's achieving probably what the idea of it is. That's to create some interest in the way the races happen.
Yeah, it's certainly been a very interesting way that this season has been shaped with the tyre issues at various rounds. Thanks for putting on a great show so far tonight, lads. Best of luck for race 3.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
And as everyone gets formed up for race 3, we're just doing another warm-up session. We'll just take a quick break here, and we'll see you on the other side. And welcome back. Hope you're enjoying watching Rody cut a few laps in the last warm-up session of tonight's action before we finish up. We have one race left tonight, and it is another 14-lap sprint event. As we've lost Rody because I am bad at this. Here we go. Another 14-lap sprint event. Progressive grid from the race 2 results. So, of course, we will have a front row of Brenton and Brenton once again. Let's see how good they finish off today's racing action. And in the R class, it will be Tim Redmond from Steve Bolger leading away that field. With Brock Harvey once again having problems at the very end of the race. With his tyres. He's been very vocal in both the live chat and the ASR Discord about his tyre problems. Saying that this time he might just go hard for the whole race and then stop. So we'll see how that strategy plays out for you tonight, Brock. Fingers crossed. So we're just watching Rody run wide at turn 10. He's the only driver on track at the moment. And in fact, we'll leave him there and get ready for race 3. Of course, once again, race 3, another 14-lapper from race 2 results. So Nathan Higginson will have to do it the hard way and fight his way through the field after DNFing in race 1. Unfortunately, it looks like we've lost a few drivers after the first race. We've had one or two drivers finish up. I'm just trying to figure out who it is. You know what? We'll figure it out when we're out on track. Yeah, that's the easiest. As we form up again out on the grid. Here we are. And once again, it is Brenton, Brenton, and Brendan on the front 3 positions of the grid. We have Scott Nolan, who's eager to get away, it looks like, from 4th. Luke Joyner, Cracker, Tim Redmond, Steve Bolger, Steve Warwick, Termo. The regulars, looks like Glenn Miles has called it a night. And Maku has called it a night. So there are the 2 that have left. As we're just waiting for the last guys to grid up. And we're underway for our formation lap. It is Brendan Hobson who will lead us away, looking to make it a perfect night of racing for him, winning race 1 and 2 in dramatic fashion. He leads us away from the pole. Brendan Foley starts from 2nd place. He's looking to deny the perfect weekend for Hobson. Brendan Ross sits in 3rd. And he will start again from 3rd place, ahead of Scott Nolan, who will start from 4th place. Luke Joyner will start from 5th. Respectable result for him. And Cracker, who actually made his way ahead of the entire R-Class field through that race. So well done for Cracker. He starts from 6th. Tim Redmond will lead off the R-Class grid, starting from 7th place, alongside Steve Bolger, who put in a cracking effort late on in the race to force Brock's tyres into dramatic explosions. Steve Rock will start from 9th, ahead of Termo, our race 1 victor in the R class. He starts from 10th. John McDonald, valiant defense from him, mixing it with the big boys. He will start 11th. Brock Harvey, after his tyre woes, will start in 12th. Taipan and Ben Hall already looking like they're getting their racing underway in 13th and 14th through turn 6. Mike Coulston will start 15th in the number 66 Camel Toe Racing Machine. Number 16 will be Rory Smith, starting in the number 89 car, the wild card for this round. Rhodey will start from number 17 in the Moog PBF Academy car. Brian Walsh will start in 18th place, and rounding out the field, Nathan Higginson, after his DNF in race 2, he will start from the back of the grid. 19 cars for the last race, but it has all been a tale of catching this man, or rather stopping this man from victory. A great strategy in race 2 to win on the line effectively for Brendan Hobson. He will stretch his championship advantage no matter what happens in race 3, I think, based on the championship positions. And he has been the man to beat tonight as the field comes through to grid up for the final race of the evening. Thank you very much for joining us on Endurance Chat Media. I hope you've had a good night. There's been a lot of activity in the chat, which is what we love to see. As we start race 3. Last few cars getting onto the grid. Lights are on. Again, a decently long hole, but this time it looks like it's Foley that might have the better run. Someone's got the headlights on in the mid-pack, but they're trying to get through. Foley and Hobson down to the first corner. It's going to be Foley who takes us away. Foley leads us off. Looks like Redmond and Bolger from turn 3. They're going to go side by side. And it's going to be Bolger, maybe, who sneaks his way through to the R-Class lead. Yes, it is. Turbo's already also squeezed his way through, but almost squeezes too hard and goes around. He's going to fight his way down the order on the outside of turn 5. Steve Warwick makes his way into 3rd. There's a little bit of a touch there between Brock, Harvey, and Turmo. So they go side by side into 7. And it's going to be Harvey who sneaks out ahead, is it? Does it come through 8? Yes, it is. A little bit more touch, but this time Harvey prevails. So it's Bolger who leads the R class, and it is Foley who leads the RS class. Now, this is something we haven't seen yet tonight. Foley leading from the early stages, and will he be able to manage his tyres effectively? It's going to be a difficult job to manage his tyres with the man of the hour, Brendan Hobson, sitting in his wheel tracks. In fact, Hobbo's going the aggressive route, trying to make the move straight away. But it will be at the end of lap 1. Foley, Hobson, Nolan, Ross, then Joyner, and then Cracker. Bolger leads R-Class from Tim Redmond, and then there's a kerfuffle further back. Higginson already almost all the way through the R-Class. Coulston swings through. There's Rory Smith and Brian Walsh. Where's Brian Walsh? He's unfortunately DNF'd on the first lap. Unfortunate for Playboy Racing Man. He'll be back again, I'm sure. Nolan now looking more racy than he has over the course of the night. He sits in 3rd place currently, with Hobson and Foley just ahead. Right up the rear wheels of Brendan Hobson at the moment is Scott Nolan. In fact, Luke Joyner! He was trying to have a go at Ross around the outside, just got off in the dirty stuff, and that really sort of... You could see the lack of adhesion as he just slid wide. There wasn't anything you could do about it. It was like he was on ice. Check out this for the R-Class lead. Bolger and Redmond with Nathan Higginson trying to fight his way through. Higo's going to be patient here. Finds the hole. And Bolger is going to let him go around the outside. Now this is going to allow Redmond the chance to take a run. Bolger comes across. Is he going to come across the whole way? He needs to, because Redmond's going to do it. Redmond's already up the inside. Hits the brakes. And will scythe down the inside. And take the lead back. So maybe just a little bit of inattention there from Bolger, not quite realizing that the door had been opened by the RS class car coming through and allowing Redmond to step through with open arms. So it is Redmond, Bolger, Warwick, Harvey, Turmo, McDonald, Taipan. Have a look at that battle pack. They slide through turns 3 and 4. That's like 6 or 7 cars in one instance there. Redmond's already stepping away to a little bit of a gap. How about this as well? This is 5 cars in a battle pack as well. Foley from Hobson, side by side out of turn 7. Foley with the inside line. And in fact, Hobson a little out of sorts there. Maybe not quite getting the turning point that he would have wanted. And it's actually dropped him away and let him fall into this angry battle pack. And angry is the operative word here. Have a look at this. Nose to tail pushing each other down the back straight. Nolan and Joyner side by side. Nolan does squeeze out ahead, and for the moment it calms down. But here comes Hobson once again. Attached to the rear of that PBF racing machine. We'll jump on board with the SSR number 88 machine. We'll have a look at what it looks like when there's another car ahead of Hobson for a change. Oh, nicely over the curb at turn 2. Thought about it, certainly thought about the move at turn 3, but decides to sit in the wheel tracks. You can see Joyner in the rear view mirror, just taking a little bit of a look at Nolan. An early shift there for Hobson, getting the power down into gear 4. There's a little bit of an overlap. Oh, Joyner just plows through the gap there. Let's have a look at that one again, because that was quite a move. Saw the gap, fired through it. And in the end, just a little bit of a touch on the rear of Hobson, but made the move quite nicely on Nolan. Oh, and Nolan didn't appreciate that. Had the headlights on. In fact, while we were watching that, Joyner's been passed by Rossi as well. And look at that in the background. That's Nathan Higginson already almost at the rear of this group. Further back, let's check out the R-Class. Tim Redmond once again holds the lead ahead of Bolger. Then have a look, that's Brock Harvey sitting in 3rd, Steve Warwick, John McDonald, Ben Hall, Mike Coulston, Rhodey, and Turmo. So Turmo's had an off or something, because he's well down from where he should be. As Higginson sets the fastest lap of the race, 35.5 for Nathan Higginson. Yeah, very slow first sector for Turmo, so possibly involved with Taipan perhaps. He also had a very slow first sector. So, not the race that Turmo would have wanted, as Tim Redmond looks to stretch his championship advantage. So we come back up to this battle for the lead, and it looks like Hobson might have done the business this time. Foley's gone very wide through turn 7. Tries to hold the inside at turn 8. Does so nicely, but the inside for turn 9 is there for Hobson. Foley runs wide, and he's lost a little bit of grip in the mid-corner. And that's the overlap done and dusted, so Hobson back to the lead. So once again, it's a battle of who can conserve the best here between Hobson and Foley, with Brendan Ross just behind as well. And we heard Hobson say in the post race for race 2 that the tyres last until about lap 7 before they really start to hurt. And that's when the pace starts to drop away. That was when he started to be able to make inroads on the guys ahead. So we're getting close to that point now. We're on lap 6. So it will be another few laps before we start seeing real damage done to the tyres. A few updates from the live chat. We've got Mr. Walshy, Brian Walsh, saying that he got booted from the server on lap 1. So that's unfortunate for him that he was unable to do that. And also Brock Harvey saying that he wants to shout out to his son Lucas watching the live stream. Hi Lucas. I hope your dad actually makes it to the end of the race before blowing a tyre. We'll bring Brock up on screen and see how he's going. See what condition the tyres are in. He currently sits about a second behind Steve Bolger for second place in class. And 2 seconds ahead of Steve Warwick. So he's in a Steve sandwich at the moment is Brock. As we've got Rory Smith, another DNF in this race as well tonight. Lucas says hello. There we go. It's a wonderful feeling. Go back to the battle at front because it's really now a battle pack in almost 5 here. Hobson, Foley, Ross, Joyner, and Nolan. So start lap 7. It looks at the moment that Hobson's just tried to eke away like a car length or a car length and a half advantage from the rest of the pack just to give himself a bit of a safety buffer. Awesome shot there at turn 5. This overhead, you can sort of see what I mean. There's about 2 or 3 car lengths now between Hobson and Foley, with Ross really terrorizing the rear of the Foley car as Ross's rear gets terrorized as well by Luke Joyner, again going deep into turn 6. Rory Smith saying in the live chat that he blew his motor, saying that he's having problems with his shifter, so that was what caused his untimely DNF. Sorry to hear that, Rory. Hope we'll see you in a month's time for... where are we going in a month's time? Lakeside, that's where we are. But once again, it's Brendan Ross looking the more likely of the Brennies to make a positive move forward. As Scott Nolan actually makes a positive move forward and passes Luke Joyner around the penultimate corner. And in fact, that's opening up Luke Joyner to a run from Higginson as they come down the main straight. A little bit of touch there, just not... Oh, Joyner's gone very, very deep. He's not going to pull that up. He's gone over the curb and he's going to come straight back across the track into Higginson. Now, that might be looked at later on because I don't think Joyner was at all in control of his machine there as he returned to the track. I think he's actually... Oh, as Higo is about as out of control as Joyner was just moments ago. Back at the front. Foley looks like he's responded here and that gap has tightened up again. It's less than 2 tenths. It's less than 2 tenths. Well, it's less than 3 tenths between all 3 of them, truth be told. These are the close. This is the closest battle on track at the minute. Unless... Oh, and Brock Harvey's come in for a pit. So he's pit at the half race distance line. He's gone very well over the pit exit line there, Brock. Naughty boy. He's going to try and make the pit stop work. So, playing the safe option there is Brock. Bit of a mid-pack kerfuffle here. Termo versus John McDonald versus Ben Hall. These guys are scrapping over, I think it's 5th place in class at the minute. Termo looks like he's got a bit of pace on John McDonald. Remember, Termo had an off of some description earlier on the race that we missed and that saw him drop quite a ways down the order, him and Taipan. Has been on the recovery drive ever since. And, ooh, bit of Argy and a bit of Bargy there, trying to force his way past McDonald. He's got a great run though, coming out of the final corner. He's right on board with the Monster Energy Turbo Motorsport car, number 51. McDonald goes defensive, and Turbo doesn't get the nose tucked in, but McDonald doesn't do a good job of escaping with that. So McDonald's giving himself a bit of pressure here, and he's going to run deep again. Cuts back on the apex, but Turbo is all over the rear, and holding up Turbo. We can see the lights flash there from Turbo. He's not at all happy with McDonald holding up the machine through the apex of the corner there. Oh, really unsettled off the curb was McDonald, who goes defensive, arrows it straight into the entry of turn 7, and is the over-under on. It might well be McDonald runs 2 wheels on the grass. Turbo's going to swoop around the outside of 8 and takes that position. So well done from Turbo. Well done working that pass. And he has a bit of room to catch Steve Warwick. Back up the front once again, because it's Brenton Foley this time around who leads the race. And it looked like that was done in the middle sector. So Foley now leads, and he looks like he might be trying to break away a little bit here. It's a gap of 8/10 already. Last lap around, it was over a second advantage between Foley over Hobson. And the gap's going out further. So either Hobson's playing the super conservative ploy once again and just sort of letting Foley run his tyres into the ground, or it's been him that's been afflicted by the tyre issues for these cars. Still not an insignificant amount of racing to go. 4.5 laps left for these guys. So they do still have to manage it. They can't just go hell for leather. Looks like Luke Joyner's been dropped off the back of this group. Possibly fighting some tyre issues. So we got Foley, Hobson, Ross and Nolan in this front group. Foley this time with a 37.1. Hobson was a 36.7. So Hobson's trying to just latch back on here. Not sure if there was some sort of mistake or something like that, but it was an uncharacteristically poor lap. But Hobson's right on the wheel tracks here. And we'll get a real close-up view of the rear end of that PBF Race Engineering Lancer. Right down low, we'll sort of see the difference in tyre quality as they turn in here. Foley runs it a little wide. That's a lot of room that he's left, and that's going to allow Hobson to go straight through, is it? Foley fights back on the inside of turn 9. He's had to arrow all the way across to the outside of the track, though. That's going to allow Hobson straight through. So 0 to 0, just like that. For Foley, 2 laps ago he was streaming away at the front, and then just as quickly he's come back to the battle pack. Three laps to go for these guys now, as Hobson sets almost his best lap of the race. He's really conserving on those tyres and has been all race. And maybe that 1 lap from Foley took too big a chunk out of it. So we'll leave these guys here just for the moment and check out Nathan Higginson taking a pit stop. Tim Redmond's going to jump up that position. Steve Bolger sits second to Redmond in the R class. Head of Warwick Turmo, and then this battle, John McDonald, Ben Hall, and Mike Coulston about to buy into it. McDonald a little wild there. Coulston a little more wild. He's come across the start-finish line to start lap 12. Oh, wide again from McDonald, and he's had to come across the apex of the corner. This is going to be Ben Hall, Mike Coulston. That's going to give them the run. You can hear Hall riding over the curb there. McDonald's done well, but can he hold on to it through this section of track? Turn 5. Double apex sweeper. Not quite. McDonald was very, very good through there, and actually got a bit of a gap over Ben Hall. I believe these guys once again head back to the top of the race. It looks like Foley and Hobson have distanced Ross and Nolan just a little bit. To the tune of about a second as they're on the penultimate lap. This has been the story of the night. Besides tyre saving, it has been Foley versus Hobson. And in all occasions so far tonight, it has been Hobson that's come out on top. Foley's gotten close. He's gotten very close. That second race, he was leading up until the last corner where Hobson... Oh, he's gone wide. Hobson's gone wide around turn 9. Is that going to give Foley enough of an opportunity to start making inroads? Not really. It looks like Hobson's really kept everything that he's needed in reserve for this last few laps. And the gap is the largest it's been all race between Hobson and the chasing pack. To start the last lap, it will be Hobson from Foley. As it has been all night, the gap is 1.2 seconds. Ross and Nolan will fight over the minors, the last step of the podium. And Tim Redmond has a commanding lead of 12 seconds over the R-Class field, who have... Oh, I was just about to say have managed to calm it down a bit, but Coulston... That looks like a tyre failure to me, as he runs wide through turn 9. And it looks like Hobson has kept exactly what he needs in reserve. Best lap of a 1:35.6 set 2 laps prior has shown that he has done the conservation job to perfection as he comes down towards turn 10. This will be another perfect evening for Hobbo, provided he gets to the line. Not putting the mocker on him just yet. But this will be race win number 8. As he comes across the line to take what has been a commanding evening's worth of racing. 3 wins from 3 races for Brendan Hobson. And he stretches his lead in the championship once more. Brendan Foley finishes in 2nd place. Brendan Ross in 3rd. Cracker finished in 4th. Luke Joyner is battling to come across the line in 5th. And the reason for that is that on the last lap, you might have just seen it on the screen, Scott Nolan picked up a drive-through penalty to be applied post-race. So he has lost out immensely in the last lap. So he's been relegated down to currently 16th is where he's listed. Oh, as Taipan has a big crash at the last corner. He was a lap down already. Tim Redmond will finish in 6th and the best of the R-Class cars. Steve Bolger is going to come across the line in 7th next to the destroyed Taipan machine. Don't think Gary Neville's going to be too pleased to find that car when it returns. Nathan Higginson will finish in 8th place. Steve Orrick will come across the line in 9th. Turbo, after winning the first race of the evening, didn't quite manage to match up for his next 2 results. He finishes in the top 10 though. Decent result for him. John McDonald will fight on to 11th place. And Ben Hall versus Brock Harvey. It's going to be Brock Harvey at the end who makes the pit stop work for him. He finishes in 12th, exactly where he started. And Ben Hall will come across the line in 13th. Mike Coulston finished a lap down in 14th place. Roddy a lap down in 15th. Scott Nolan, after the drive-through penalty, will finish in 16th, it appears. Taipan crashed his car over the line to finish 17th. And Rory Smith and Brian Walsh were the 2 non-finishers. Bit of a slow boiler, that one, but a decent way to cap off the night's action. Brendan Hobson taking his 8th win of the season to stretch his lead at the top of the standings. Was untouchable once he got past Brendan Foley to take the lead. And in the end, took a comfortable race win by 3 seconds. We're just waiting for everyone to file into the booth for some interviews. And we'll start with our race winner for all 3 races tonight, Brendan Hobson. Brendan, another great race win for you. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, Floody. That one was a little bit more standard by the book, eh?
Yeah, it was a bit more normal, a bit more standard. You held a lot in reserve in that race. And noticed your lap times only picked up in the last 3 laps.
Yeah. The second last lap I think would have been a real good one, but I ran super wide, like coming towards the end of the lap there and invalidated it. But much higher pace in that one. I mean that was it wasn't a slow race like the first 2 were. It was certainly going a lot harder. I didn't know how Foley would go. Like he stuck with me and even then threw it back down the inside and tried to race me there. So I wasn't sure how much he'd have left at the end, and it looks like he did a better job in that race of looking after his tyres as well, despite going quicker. So we're all learning all night, but yeah, I had a little bit left at the end again and let it rip a little bit in the last couple.
Yeah, you ended up eking out to a comfortable 3-second lead in that last race. Certainly more comfortable than your race 2 winning margin. How about the championship margin? You've certainly gotten out to a more comfortable mark in that one with your direct championship rivals being away for tonight.
Yeah, well, Rosella said before he was at uni, so I'm guessing that's why he wasn't here tonight. But I don't know about Damon or any of those guys. I don't know why they weren't here or whatever, which is a bit of a shame. A small car count, but might have been Winton. I know a lot of people don't like it, but yeah, it was a bit weird to not have a lot of those guys here tonight. Might have been a whole different picture if they all turned up.
Well, you absolutely capitalised on their absence and took home a perfect race weekend. So congratulations, Brendan Hobson.
Yeah, thanks for that. Thank you.
Second place in all 3 races was Brendan Foley. Brendan, you had 1 lap in the middle there where you tried to tear away. Was that what caused... did that come back to bite you at the end?
Probably a little bit. I followed Hobbo for a good part of that race and learned a couple of things along the way about where he was saving tyre and things like that. And as he said, I think we both did a better job that race. But yeah, I knew there was going to be a point where we just pulled the pin and were just flat out again. And if I stood a chance at going for the win, I had to be in front of him at that point. So I knew somewhere in the middle I had to get in a good lap and get the the track position. But then I cost myself with a small mistake under the tree. I pulled the gear lever to go from 3rd to 2nd and didn't pull it hard enough and sat in 3rd, which hung me out wide. But either way, he still had the pace on me. And as I said in race 1, Hobbo's fantastic to race. There's always racing room given, and it was a fantastic night of racing.
Certainly was. It was certainly a good night's racing from my seat, and I hope the viewers enjoyed that as well. Decent jump in the championship for you, a trio of second places. Are you focusing on that as we hit the halfway point in the season?
I honestly haven't even looked at it, but as Hobbo said, it is a shame that a few people were away tonight. I don't like really making up places just because people were absent, but if I could sit somewhere around the top 5 mark in the championship, I'd be pretty happy.
And I think that's where you're sitting at the moment. Next time out is at Lakeside in a month's time. What are you going to do with your break from the Super Series, seeing as we've got a month until the next race?
Probably put in some laps for the Enduro Cup, I reckon.
Good answer. Good answer. Congratulations on your trio of second places tonight, Brendan Foley.
Thanks to you very much.
And completing the trio of Brennies tonight, Brendan Ross comes home with, I think it was also 3 third places, Brendan.
Yeah, 3 third places. That's probably the best round I've had in quite a little while, so I'm actually quite chuffed with the night.
As well you should be. You certainly mixed it up in the first race and the second race. Not quite able to go with the front two in the last race, but still a decent return for you.
No, it was good. Yeah, majority of the race I could probably keep up with them when they were sort of jostling for position, but like you said, probably outright pace they're well above what I was. But it was nice to sort of just learn a few lines, like what Foley said. He learned a few lines off Hobbo. I learned a few lines off them, and yeah, just good to probably carry it on throughout the series now.
And how about the best seat in the house for a lot of those battles throughout the race? We were riding on board with you just because it was the best, as I said, the best seat in the house.
It was all going on. I think I cost myself a little bit of tyre wear through there because I was sort of wondering whether to battle it. But yeah, just to see Luke join and then throw it down, he ended up getting 2 places. I think me and Scott, and then I sort of saw the pass on Scott coming back with Luke there, so sort of had to think a little bit there. But it was fun just watching everyone around you just have a good battle. So yeah, I think like you said, had the best seat.
And do you feel like it's fun in those battles? Like, do you feel like everyone's approaching it with the fun side in mind and going in and in it to have a good time?
Look, I can't speak for everyone, but I think majority of people here, they're very much enjoying it, having a good time, and really coming for the fun over anything.
Awesome. Well, it was certainly fun to watch, and I hope it was as fun to be a part of as it was to watch.
Thanks, Floody.
Funny. Thanks. That's our RS class trio of a podium getters tonight. We will see if we can steal a few of our R class winners and leaders up to the box, or maybe someone can drag them up for me. We'll just see who we can get. Of course, Tim Redmond was the winner in race 2 and 3, and we've got Tim in the box now. Tim, congratulations on another last to first challenge, but it was a bit of a truncated last to first challenge this time around.
Yeah, I was trying to give a challenge a go. A certain Floody gave to me last week or last time around, pit to first. I didn't quite get there. I was kind of banking on sort of a longer circuit, banking on a bit more of a potential opportunity, loss of tyre, maybe even pit stop. I knew that I could make it home without doing the outlap, so gave it a go, gave it my best, came home third, so I'm still happy with the outcome.
Yeah, that's quite an impressive result to finish up in third place that first race, and then from there it was not a routine evening for you, but once you got to the front in the second race, you were just able to power away.
Yeah, I definitely had some fun with John McDonald in there in the middle. He made it nice and easy for me to save some tyres while I was following him around for a little bit, and that just set me up for the rest of the race. So I was looking left and right just to sort of make it fun for him, and hopefully he enjoyed that. And and so once I finally did get around him, it was just a case of just taking it easy and driving it home. So that's what we did.
So what is it with this car that you gel with so much? You seem to be able to do things that no other driver in this car has been able to do.
I'm well known for my smooth driving style, and I think that's paying off in these cars, mainly because you don't want to overdrive them. You certainly don't want to do that. You'll put too much pressure in, especially on a circuit like what we had tonight, where we had a risk on the tyre wear anyway, and we could see that there were people losing tyres left, right, and centre. So it works to my advantage being able to drive the car like that. And that pays off obviously not just here as well, but in other series that I race. You're looking after your tyres means you've got a better average time over the stint that you're driving. So that's what I aim for, and I'm continually practicing. So obviously that's what this is all about for me as well, is maintaining that smooth driving style as much as possible.
And that's put you in good stead for the Enduro Cup round that we had with the supercars not too long ago. A few drives through the field on that night. Do you feel like you're becoming better at driving through the field?
Yeah, I'm being very patient. So I don't stress about where I am, what I'm doing, especially on a long event like the endurance one. A long circuit like what we had tonight as well is a good example where patience really pays off. You've got to set up the move, and you do have to be not aggressive, but you have to be assertive. And once you've made the move, obviously drive forward and move to the next one, move to the person in front. So really, like I say, this is all just solid practice. I'm still a bit gutted the outcome of the endurance round. Hopefully, we can make some inroads and do a little bit better at Gold Coast when that comes up next week.
Yeah, and Gold Coast will be next weekend, the 2nd and 3rd of October. I will see you then, Tim. But in the meantime, congratulations on your 2 race wins tonight.
Thanks, buddy. Have a good night.
Thank you. And to finish it off, we've got Termo in the box. Termo, hard night of racing for you. Take us through those second 2 races.
I'm not going to go there.
You're not going to go there? Okay. What about, can I ask about the end of the first race? You had the lead right up until the very last corner. Was that a tyre problem?
Yeah, the tyre popped after the hairpin.
That's an absolute shame, because at that point you were looking strong for a good result. Anything to say to Tim while we've got him here still? Be careful, we are still broadcasting.
Slow down.
Copy.
We'll leave it at that. Thank you very much, Termo. All the best for the next race of the calendar.
Thank you.
And that is all the action from Winton Motor Raceway tonight. A reminder, the next round of the series will be at Lakeside Park on the 20th of October. The 26th of October. So we've got a little bit of time. We're taking a little bit of a sabbatical. I think it's 5 weeks. So a nice little break for us on a Tuesday night. In the meantime, there is, of course, the ASR Enduro Cup, as we made mention of, next weekend, Friday and Saturday, the 1st and 2nd of October. So make sure you tune into that. That'll be myself and Chris Riddell commentating on the Hour Broadcasting, with Steve DeVries hosting the broadcast, as it was last time out. But in the meantime, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on board with us. Thank you for watching an Endurance Chat Media production. I've been Michael Zalavari. Peace out.